We're staying in our object layer properties.dwg file. And in the previous video, we looked at object and layer properties and how they work within your AutoCAD drawings. Now, you'll notice on this particular drawing that we do have some dashed line types. You'll notice on the hinge on the left, the horizontal lines are dashed. You'll also notice on the nut and bolt that the hidden thread line there is also dashed on that arc there as well. Now, what you can do is you can make those dashes bigger and smaller. This would not affect a continuous line type because it's continuous, but anything dashed or dashed and dotted can be affected by what is known as the line type scale, or LT scale. Now, the line type scale can be changed globally in the whole drawing, or like in the previous video, you can do it individually for individual objects as well. So let's have a look at doing it globally first. And the quickest way to do this is just type LT scale, line type scale, like that. And you can see it comes up on the suggestion menu on the dynamic input. So just select LT scale, and you'll see at the moment that our line type scale factor is at a default of 1. It always is in any AutoCAD drawing if it hasn't been changed. So that 1 is 100% or 1 and so on. So basically it means in its entirety at the moment it's 100% sized. So what happens if I change that to 50% by changing the value to 0.5? If I press enter now, keep an eye on the dashed lines in the drawing. You will notice that the dashes and the spaces become half their original size. So now our LT scale is at 0.5. So if I went to one of these lines here on the hinge, did a right click and went to properties, what would the LT scale say? It would say 1. Now that's the individual line type scale for that particular line in the drawing. So why does that say 1 and yet the global LT scale is at 0.5? That's because they are two different values. So let's close the properties palette, hit escape to deselect that line, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the LT scale back to 1. So LT scale, type it in like we did before, press enter and change that back to 1 in the box and press enter again, and you can see the dashes return back to their original state. Now let's select just one dashed line. I'm going to go for that one there again on the hinge. I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to properties. And now I'm going to change the line type scale just of that individual line to 0.5. Press enter to finish, close the properties palette and hit escape. And can you see where the dashes and the spaces are now smaller than the original ones? So what we've done there is we've changed the individual line type scale of one particular line. So if I go to this one here now and I right click and I go to properties, you'll see that that's at 0.5. If I close the properties palette, hit escape, revisit the next line down, and then right click and go to properties again, you'll see that that is still set to 1. So it is an individual line type scale per object in this case, not a global LT scale change where you just type LT scale and change it globally within the drawing. So what I'll do quickly is I'll just hit escape, select this line here, and it's a right click, properties, and we'll just change that back to 1 and press enter so that it's back to its original settings. Close the properties palette and hit escape there. So you can see that everything now has been returned back to normal. So all the individual LT scales are set to 1 and the global LT scale is set to 1 also.